A black bear appears from nowhere. He's just a few feet from the camera, and he's surprised at the intrusion into his feeding area. There's a moment of indecision, then hunger overcomes his indecision. Every autumn, freshwater kokonee salmon migrate out of Lake Tahoe to spawn. They gather in Taylor Creek, numbering in the thousands. A few black bears have learned to fish for the salmon, just like grizzly bears fish for saltwater salmon in Alaska. It's a unique behavior that only a few black bears have mastered. The fish provide an excellent source of protein and fat for bears preparing for winter hibernation. California Fish and Wildlife erects screens to block the fish, which are an invasive species, from swimming upstream to Fallen Leaf Lake. Normally, the kokonee females would lay their eggs in the gravel of the stream bed. The males would fertilize the eggs, which would hatch in a few weeks. Meanwhile, the adult salmon would die after spawning. But this is not a normal environment. Fish and Wildlife are attempting to control the expansion of the kokonee, so they are not allowed to spawn in the stream. Instead, wildlife technicians net the trapped salmon while they are still alive, strip them of their eggs and milt, and take the eggs to a hatchery. The young salmon will be released into Lake Tahoe the following spring. Though not as large as their saltwater cousins, the freshwater kokonee exhibit similar bright spawning colors, and the males develop humped backs and distinctive hooked jaws as they enter the spawning area. Females produce hundreds of thousands of eggs. In historic terms, the kokonee are recent additions to the ecosystem of Lake Tahoe. They were introduced in 1944. Today, their growing population provides competition to wildlife biologists' efforts to reintroduce the native Lahontan cutthroat trout. Taylor Creek is only 2 miles long as it descends 100 feet from Fallen Leaf Lake to Tahoe, but in its short length it has an impressive variety of ecological features. In addition to the salmon run, a population of beavers build and rebuild dams in the stretch just above Lake Tahoe. Yellow-legged frogs inhabit the marshlands along the stream. The salmon run supports a variety of wildlife in addition to the bears. Merganser ducks hunt down the slower fish and make a meal of them. Mink, otters, and raccoons glean flesh from the carcasses. Bald eagles join the feast. Meat bees clean up what's left. The fish screen concentrates the salmon into a frenzied mass. Bad for them, but good for their opportunistic predators. It's a raucous scene at the screen. The fish endlessly attempt to jump the screen, only to bounce against the rattling aluminum bars. The ducks squawk and chase each other away from the feast. The sound of tearing flesh as a bear rips apart another fish. And all the time, the sound of thousands of fish struggling against the current. After feasting on hundreds of fat salmon during the 6-week run, this black bear can now retire to his den and enjoy a comfortable winter sleep.